Namaste, beautiful beings. This is Belinda Pearl, and welcome to this irregular guiding session for the new moon in Scorpio. And this channel is presented to you by L.E.A.F, Live Enlightened and Free. And just in its name, like if we could just live enlightened and free, maybe our experiences in the world would be a whole lot more elevated, if you will. So what does Scorpio offer to us? So the sun is in Scorpio, new moon in Scorpio. There's this idea of looking at our shadows. So this is what everyone's talking about. What is your shadow? And so sometimes the shadow is those disowned parts of our being or our personality, whether they're positive or negative, whether they are strengths, our gifts, or maybe even our weaknesses. But if we shine more light upon those parts that we feel that we need to disown, we may begin to notice that, in fact, that these are gifts that are helping us through our soul's evolution on this planet. So that's kind of the lay of the land where we are. And so we're going to dive into oracle cards and get a good gist of where it is and how we can move forward through this phase. And also to mention, so Mars will be stationing to go direct on the same day of the super moon in Scorpio. So there's a moment of taking a brief breath before we decide to gallivant back into the world and see what it is that we're supposed to be doing. We should have been, during this Mars retrograde period, is reflecting on what our true strengths are and what it is that we want to bring into the world so we can truly be that spiritual warrior. So if you're on that band, that idea of that channel of seeing how you can really stand into your power, to stand into your spiritual gifts, this is a great time to take a moment on this new moon. New moons are all about new beginnings, planting new seeds. So what are the seeds that you want to plant for yourself? How can you allow yourself to evolve into the next stage of your existence? So let us see. I've been reading with these Rumi cards. I've been enjoying reading the Rumi poems. I've been finding them very insightful and very healing. So let us see. Take a moment here, maybe close your eyes and ponder upon what it is that what seeds do you want to plant on this new moon? And how can we utilize this new moon energy to create more space within inside of ourselves by letting go of our perceived weaknesses and rather focusing our attention on the light. And the light is the fuel or the fertilizer that allows that seed within you, those gifts within you, to blossom and bloom. So this is a great time for, clearing out the old and bringing in new possibilities. So what is it that we're awaiting? So let us see what guidance has for us, what guidance has for you, and guidance has for me. Let's see what Rumi has to share with us, a little insight into that magnificent mind, where we can look at the world from a different perspective. So let us see what guidance is offering. It says whirling goddess, and actually, funny enough, I did a reading yesterday and this particular same card came up. It says whirling goddess. What I love about this card is that her head is thrown back so much that I was like, when I first saw the card initially, I was like, how can you dance your way through life with your head kind of lost and thrown back in this way and being led by your heart center? The colors inside the card has this orange here too, which is about creativity. So maybe we can step into the creative self, our creative self. The sky above reminds me of a starry night sky. So maybe we can look towards the stars, to the universe, and ask us, how can we lead life through our hearts? The card number is 30. So there's this idea about this divine trinity. It's about not ourself by ourselves. It's ourself, our higher self, and the universe. Also, 0 is this place of all that is source, that undefinable place within inside of us. Connecting back to that place of the 3, which is maybe us coming into balance with ourself, our higher self, ourself here on this planet in this human form, and then also that part of our universal self as well. So I want to read to you the poem, because I know this poem is in fact quite powerful. So let me find that quickly in the book while you take a moment just to close your eyes and find your seat and rest into this place of your divine presence of who you are. And let us see, whirling goddess, and this poem is pretty short, and so she whirls around. It says, lose your head. Maybe we can all do it with losing our head. Lose your head. Not a single thread that has a head can go through the eye of the needle. I'll read that again. Lose your head. Not a single thread that has a head can go through the eye of the needle. It further goes on to say, come, my love, are you dizzy yet? If you can still find your feet, then that is okay with me. But if you can still find your head, then I will take issue. There is a great dance. I think this is the universal dance, in fact. But it cannot be danced with a choreographed steps. So it's like if you have a plan and you're so stuck to your plan, you know, in Buddhism they say, you know, when we walk the middle path, or if we resist or we attach onto things, this is where we find the most pain in our life, right? It says, no, this great dance demands a response rather than an initiation, a reaction rather than a direction. So let us dissemble and lose our heads to the great music, the rhythm held steady in our beating hearts. Our feet shall be moving whilst our minds, inadequate to the task, take the night off. So maybe this is an idea while we choose to look at what it is that we need for ourselves on this new moon, on the Scorpio new moon, where it's looking at the seeds inside of you and what are those things that scuff the brightness of your soul, if you will. Maybe those are the things where we need to put our head aside and come back into that place of our hearts and allow our hearts to truly extend up into the universe, to really open our hearts as much as we can. Most of the time, that the things that we trip over is those things in our mind, in our heads, those things that don't allow us to really see clearly. And I always like to say the mind is a great trickster. And in fact, on this new moon too, there's an opposition, I like to say a bridge between Mercury and Uranus. And both kind of rule a little bit in that headspace, especially Mercury. But the Uranus is offering us a different perspective, maybe a universal perspective of how you're looking at things. So maybe what you're looking at in life, maybe it's time for you to lose your head. You're not going to go through that passage, that head on your shoulders, if it's too full of stuff. Maybe just empty your head and let your heart move you. Maybe that's an idea that you can take for this new moon. Allow your heart to move you. Throw off the head, throw off your dancing shoes, and just stand on the pure earth and allow yourself to be taken by the passion that's rising within you. And this is that Mars coming, stationing to go direct, is the passion inside of you is ready and ripe. But what is it that you want to take with you? So take a moment of reflection on this new moon day. And it's also a super moon, so the energy, even though we don't see the moon, the energy is going to be a little bit more intense, and Scorpio likes to turn up that intensity too. I think that's at 23 degrees too. So there's this idea again about finding your inner balance, inner equilibrium. That 3 again coming into that balance within yourself with your higher self and the universal self as well. And then that 5 is that place of transformation. All things change over time, no matter what. If things are stuck in the way it is, things become a little bit stifled. Allow the energy to move through you. If we look at water, when it gets stuck and it's stuck in like a little pool, over time it starts to stink or get a bit of gunk in it. So there needs to be new energy flashing through. So this is a time to awaken yourself to the new energy of the universe, this new moon energy to flash through you, to cleanse you, to purify. And Scorpio is also connected a lot to water, right? So it's a water sign as well. So maybe having a bath would be great to do. We can light a candle for that Mars energy to burn the fire, to transmute. And so while you're in the bath, you can throw into the fire all those old ideas, all those old perceived shadow pieces that you've disowned. so that you can start to see yourself a little bit more clearer too, so that you can step into that dance and not have an idea where you're going, but rather allow the dance to take you. This is the cosmic dance of the universe too. So hopefully that made some sense. So from my heart to yours, may you always be blessed. Namaste. And again, this is Belinda Pearl for Live Enlightened and Free, and I look forward to seeing you all again next week. Namaste.